In the Hearts and Minds, Book 0, The Birth of a Hero. Story 22. Time will be stopped. Iago finally made contact with Vardy Hamilton's skin. His blow glanced off her neck, followed by a whole leafy entourage. At last, the cherry-red dust emanating from him caught hold. She screamed, and it was a terrible sound. Arlie deadlocked her neck, so her screams turned muffled and higher-pitched as the dust settled on her. Iago saw the squirm of it, its bee-like intensity. It hovered over nearly her entire body. Tears filled her eyes, and Iago stopped. Enough. He didn't know if it would work, but he tried anyway. If anyone could stop a storm, it was the one who'd created it. At first, the swarm didn't listen, so Iago shoved his entire hand down, resting it against the devil's leg where the swarm was most dense. Enough. The fog didn't want to hurt its creator, apparently. It edged away, hesitant, as if asking if he was sure. Arlie, too, questioned him with an impenetrable gaze. "You're more metal than human now," he remarked. "Yet you so fearlessly thought you could win. All your enemies before now have been entirely human, entirely at your mercy." He sighed, removing his hand. The swarm buzzed off, searching for its next fix. He saw it go toward the barns, and he felt a pang. He was partially responsible for the destruction of Ground Hollow, but he didn't realize he would be responsible for destroying all evidence of his family's history. Do you just enjoy being stronger than the people you hurt? Does it feel that good to terrify your victims? Choked, pained, Vardy Hamilton whispered her response. "It's better than being a victim. I only hurt the ones who hurt." "No, you don't," Arlie hissed, tightening their grip. "You're the ones who called us terrorists. You're the ones who made us terrorists. But we're not. We're not fucking terrorists." "She's not the government," Iago reminded Arlie, holding up a hand. "She's just a hunting dog. She doesn't care about right versus wrong. I've seen their training. It's mind control." Arlie scoffed, throwing the dazed soldier to the ground before standing. "Excuses. We have no reason to spare her." "We don't," Iago agreed. "And maybe we have good reason to kill her, too. But we're not fully in the right either. She's just doing her job." "She won't spare us next time," Arlie warned. Iago knew the situation was serious because they didn't use any strange epithets that didn't make a whole lot of sense. He didn't think of Pinata in that moment. His gaze was farther, and his heart was clear. He thought of Flora, the one who had taken him in despite looking like a monster. "We are all equally the same and equally different," she'd told him, as she'd helped remove the knots in his hair after months of scrounging in the shadows of street corners and alleys. "We are all under one sun, are we not? I choose to believe that most of all." Iago swallowed. He had a family to care for now, a large family that had been forcibly scattered to the winds. Every decision he made compounded dozens of lives. He wasn't allowed to make the wrong choices anymore. Iago stood, staring down at the devil. Those in the resistance knew her as such purely because of her kill rate, her win rate against Fa. Nobody ever knew what her power was. Some said she frightened her victims to death. Others said she cursed them with poor luck. He could see now how that reputation had been founded. Killing was the easy answer, at first glance. If he wanted to dismantle this rotten throne, he would be confronted with this choice again and again. Maybe someday it would become unavoidable. Iago didn't believe that day was today. You have the power to change the world, Iago told the devil. You think loyalty will keep you safe? Maybe it will, but at what cost? You've already stopped yourself from feeling. What else will they ask of you? Will they ask you to stop your breathing too? Then what was the point of doing anything in the first place? Arlie stalked away. Iago lost sight of them amongst the embers and sizzling tractors. All of Ground Hollow was nearly devoured. It was an empty sight. Just empty, red and black and orange. No memories, no shapes, no more impressions of the grand majesty that had once thrived here. I would happily grant that request, Private Hamilton said. Just finish me. I can't. Iago squatted down. I have a lot of people I need to make proud, and that doesn't include killing my own kind. There's more than one way to live, but there's only one sun to live under. Yours is the same sun as mine. Iago laughed, staring up at the dark sky. It was hard to believe the sun was behind that wall of darkness. But it was. It was. Isn't that crazy? Silence pooled between them until Iago sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. He was never very good at talking or standing firm, even when he was angry and disgusted. The truth was, he had spent so long being angry and disgusted that it hardly bothered him anymore. Breathing out coals at every other breath? Big deal. He could live like that. He already was. Let's stop hurting each other from here on out, he told Vardy Hamilton, who blinked open her eyes, milky red with tears. He waited for her gaze to focus on his face, then said, This isn't kindness or pity or anything like that. It's trust. Your husband is a good man. I trust him to watch my family, so I have to watch his when he can't. That's kind of what we do out here, though you'll never get a chance to see it. You did just burn it all to the ground. But hey, then I dissolved a lot of it, so we're both at fault. You wouldn't even be here if not for me. Stars dazzled the backs of his eyelids, and he concentrated on just breathing for a while. There was so much weight on his chest. He didn't know how he was going to take a step out of this spot. It was more than just the pain in his knee. Vardy Hamilton's eyes closed again. Her face was tinged with blue. Arlie came back through the smoke with a wooden wagon and a tarp. They met Iago's eyes, and for the first time, He thought he could see through that impenetrable gaze. It wasn't anger, like he'd always believed. It wasn't the rage that lived in them all. Iago thought it was something like trust, but he knew better. If peace was real, it would look like this. Thank you, Iago told them. And at last, the tears found him. Just thank you.